Great! Welcome back to the Sunset Connection. This episode continues my District 4 candidate mini-series where I'm speaking with everyone running for supervisor and asking the same questions in the same format each time. It's still early in the District 4 race, but early is when it's easiest to actually hear how candidates think. The series is about giving voters that space before everything gets condensed into slogans. Each candidate is asked the same questions in the same order, so listeners can focus on how they approach the issues that matter most to the Sunset. I'm thrilled today to welcome David Lee, who is a candidate for District 4 Supervisor, a Sunset homeowner, a lifelong Westside San Franciscan, and an educator. He previously served as a San Francisco Rec and Park Commissioner from 2005 to 2012, appointed by then Mayor Gavin Newsom, where he worked on renovations and improvements to neighborhood spaces including Sava Pool, Sunset Rec Center, and McCoppin Square. David has also served as a volunteer executive director of the Chinese American Voter Education Committee since 1993, registering more than 100,000 Asian American voters across the Bay Area, with much of that work focused here in the Sunset District. So welcome, David.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. May I ask what your personal connection is to District 4?
Well, I have many connections, actually. When we opened our Sunset office here back in the in 2000s, we were located just down the street, actually, on 1900 Noriega, and know this neighborhood very well. A lot of my family, my friends are here, and this is a neighborhood that when it came time to settle down, my kids have moved away. My son moved to New York, and my daughter moved to London.
Wow.
They're both working for companies.
Great.
And my wife and I were looking for our retirement home, a home where we're going to spend with hopefully in the future grandkids and our kids coming back. And we thought, where would we like to live? Well, the Sunset District was a natural for us. So because of all the connections, the deep connections we have to the neighborhood. And we eat here all the time, or shop here. My wife loves this neighborhood. And so we finally a place opened up and we were able to purchase it, and we're thrilled to be part of this neighborhood.
Well, as a realtor, I'm very curious. When did you buy?
Just bought in September,
Okay.
and it's just a little bit more than what you paid for your home.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful location. We love it. It's right off of the Sunset Boulevard.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's very quiet, but very close to all the amenities. I love to bike and get around the neighborhood. Plus, it's very close to San Francisco State. It's easy to get to City College. And I still teach political science. I'm an adjunct lecturer, so it makes it easy for me to get to campus, although I'm not teaching this semester. And it just was a perfect place. Also close to SFO. And we just love the neighborhood.
Wonderful. So what made you specifically decide that this was the moment to run for supervisor of District 4?
Well, I did a lot of voter registration last year, and we went and knocked on doors and with my students, my volunteers, and everywhere we went in the Sunset, people talked to me, and supporters, people just registering to vote for the first time, said, "Hey, you should think about running because we really need a voice in this community to represent us on the board of supervisors." And people have seen me do a lot of work up on behalf of the community, especially through my voter registration work, my work on the Rec and Park Commission, and so forth. And as an educator, I've educated a generation of Sunset residents at San Francisco State. And they were like, you'd be great as a supervisor. You should think about it. So when I went back and talked to my family, and my wife, and they all thought, "Hey, this is the time. You should really do it." And that's what led me to decide to run, was really the people, talking to people, my neighbors, my soon to be neighbors. They weren't neighbors yet, but people I met registering folks to vote in the Sunset.
Great. So, how do you think your previous experiences have prepared you for this moment?
Well, I have a varied experience as a rec and park commissioner. I built playgrounds and facilities in the Sunset District. Very proud, in particular, of Sava Pool. That was one of the first projects. It was a project that brought in a lot of the community, and there was a lot of discussion, lots of meetings. And what we had, the end result was a project that became a model for swimming pools all across San Francisco. Environmentally friendly. It was a very cutting edge project at the time. And that was done through collaboration, working with the community, working with neighbors, bringing people together. And that's been a constant theme in my career as an educator as well, working to bring people together, bring my students together to help improve the community. And one of the another area that I think is really vital is getting people to be engaged in their community. And I've been about volunteerism and helping people, and so I've instilled that in my students and in working with partners in my nonprofit work. And so I have a combination of knowing how government works, how City Hall works, having been through, 7 budgets on the Rec and Park Commission. I was chair of the Capital Committee, which managed bond money, and knowing how City Hall works, city government works, along with working with people, working with people who want to give back to the community, who want to participate, and how to listen to people and bring people together. So I think I bring those unique experiences to the role of supervisor. And I think this is a critical time in our neighborhood because we've gone through a recall election, we've gone through appointment process. Uh, I think people want to healing in our district, and I think this is a very important time. And I can bring my skills and background to help bring the district together.
Great. And so, if elected, what does a win look like for you within the first year as supervisor?
Well, I've been working recently with the Irving Street merchants. They also are Noriega.
OSMPA?
Yes, because of the blackouts that happened
Oh,
about
yeah.
a month ago, the PG&E blackouts that caused such damage, economic devastation for some of these mom and pop immigrant-run, family-run businesses.
Yeah.
People have lost tens of thousands of dollars
Right.
and are still suffering here a month later after the blackouts.
Mhm.
And a win would be to make PG&E help these people recover
Mhm.
and help process the claims, give people back what they need to get back on their feet. These businesses, these families are run on very thin margins, and they're the lifeblood of our community. And that would be a win, is to hold PG&E accountable, increase the basic credit back to the consumer, and also the claims process to make it easier and to make sure they pay those who have been hurt by the blackout quickly. So that would be a win. A second important win equally for us is if we could heal and bring the community together. I was talking earlier about that, and I think that's really important at this critical time, is to bring people together. And if we could do that in this year, that would be a win. And heal the kind of rifts that have opened up.
Yeah. So speaking of rifts in the community, when community voices conflict, and they often do, how do you decide who to prioritize?
Well, I think it comes from the community talking and having discussions with people, being able to convene groups of people to talk about what are the issues, what is happening in the community, what do we need to focus on, and to prioritize those most pressing issues. For instance, we have a lot of deferred maintenance in this district, and everywhere I've gone, I've talked to people who've complained about the trees on great along the Sunset Boulevard, those green spaces that have been neglected, the parks, playgrounds that have deferred maintenance, and I think working with people, listening to people, having discussions, bringing people together is what's really key, and making sure that all those issues rise up and prioritize the things that people agree on. And I think what you'll find is when you talk to people, and what I found in talking to voters is the voters are really smart in this district. They know what needs to be fixed. And I think in talking to people, coming together, we can come up with those priorities, and making sure that we are transparent, accessible, open, and working closely with the community to get those priorities addressed.
Great. So just to kind of go back to the question though, when the voices conflict, like when one constituent wants something that's completely opposite from another constituent, but they're both constituents, like how will you kind of address that situation?
Well, that's where a lot of discussion and openness to listen is, and to recognize what are the most pressing needs and what can be accomplished right now. For instance, there may be some issues that cannot be accomplished by the supervisor itself because it requires a citywide vote, for instance. There are other issues that a supervisor can accomplish and can do, for instance, like look at the police schedule and resources at Taraval Station, making sure those police resources are well allocated, and so that we have a Taraval Station that can cut its response time, so that when calls come in, they can respond to them quickly because they have those resources. So it's vitally important to, again, talk to the community, to prioritize even when there are competing views, because that's the role of the supervisor, is to figure out what is doable now. Well, how can we make a timeline to get things done? Yeah, and of course, and I think working to get a compromise together. Yeah, to compromise and to get people together so that we can all agree that these are the priorities that we need to get through.
Thank you. So the sunset is changing demographically, economically, and even politically. What changes do you welcome and which ones concern you?
Well, I think change is everywhere you see in the sunset. You think about when I was growing up, we used to come out here all the time, and many of the streets, particularly outer Sunset on Taraval and other streets, did not have the kind of diversity of businesses that we do now. For instance, there's a great in my opinion, one of the best Chinese roasteries in the Sunset, right on outer Taraval, and it's a great place for duck and roast pork. And when I was growing up, we didn't have those kind of places out the outer parts of the district. Now we have Chinese, really thriving businesses that are everywhere, and that's a great change. And the fact that we have really some of the most culinary wise, the most diverse and highest quality restaurants and boba shops and different kinds of businesses. I think that's tremendous. Also, I think the night market has brought in a lot of people from outside the district, from other parts of the city to enjoy what's so unique about the Sunset. People really love the night market. They see everything that the Sunset has to offer, and I think that's a great, and it's brought a lot of energy to the district. And but I think there's also some concern. I have some concern about the family zoning plan that was passed, particularly about luxury housing that might be going in, or housing that apartment towers or condo towers that may be rising in parts of the district that is largely single family homes. And this is a really special neighborhood, a really special district. And it's so vitally important that the neighbors all be able to weigh in. And as supervisor, I would make sure that before any project gets approved, that the neighbors and the residents of the Sunset have a say, and that people are heard, and that the project fits what the neighborhood wants. That is really key to preserving what a lot of people consider is so special about the Sunset.
Great. So I'm hearing that you really would champion public comment on any type of project that moves forward.
Public comment, participation, having the neighbors, having residents from throughout the Sunset have a say, but particularly the people who live in that community, that pocket where the project is most likely to impact, should have a say in what kinds of project get built, and to make sure that projects fit what the neighborhood. Yeah, I'd say also, as a neighbor, as a district that is largely older district, is one of the oldest districts demographically in the city. It's wonderful to see all the young families. We're starting to see more young families come in, and I see them certainly in my area. And it's great, and that brings a lot of energy, and you can see it, in the neighborhood. So that's it's great.
Awesome. So what would you want residents to say about your leadership when this term ends, even if they didn't vote for you?
Yeah, I think what would be great is if people say, I've brought people together to compromise, to come together and come to agreement, and we've healed some of these rifts, and that people can come together so we can have compromise over all the issues that might have created rifts in the past. That I, as supervisor, brought people together so that we could agree and compromise, prioritize projects, work on projects, and get things done for our district.
Thank you. All right, so we're moving into our next section, which is the scenario. So I'm going to be asking every candidate the same scenario so that listeners can better understand how each candidate approaches problem solving. So with that, if you were supervisor and a small business owner came up to you for help with a parking issue, but SFMTA was unwilling to make the requested changes, how would you advise the business owner?
First, I would really want to understand why MTA is resisting or objecting these changes. I've have a lot of experience having been a commissioner for 7 years and being knowing working with MTA. I don't take no for an answer, and I want to find out and go to commissioners, MTA commissioners, to the mayor, if possible, to find out what is going on, why is not why there's a no. Why are we getting a no? And that's the kind of person I am. I really advocate hard and make sure that every avenue is pursued until we get a yes. And really critical for the constituents, for the business owner, that a no is a real no. Because a lot of times what we find is MTA may come back and say, hey, can we make a compromise? Can we do something different that can accommodate what the business owner's needs are and also satisfy MTA's mandate? And to get there, though, requires a persistence, require knowing the system, knowing people, and knowing how to use the office of supervisor to ask the questions of those who make these decisions at MTA. And before I come back to the a business owner to say, we can't do that, I want to pursue every single angle and find out if there is a compromise. And then I would also bring the business owner in to let them to talk through everything I've learned, what the situation is, and then come to some kind of compromise.
So that's a pretty well thought out plan. And in terms of timeline, my next question would be, what does success look like in your view in 6 months? So where in your plan would 6 months be, hopefully?
Within 6 months, I would follow up and make sure that we're seeing progress, daily, if possible. What is going on? Are we getting any results? And then certainly by the end of the first month, have a very clear picture of where we need to go. And by the end of that process, having pursued it and pushed it all the way, be able to have met with both the MTA and the business owner multiple times before we come to a compromise, and well before the 6 months is up, so that by the time the 6 months is here, we will have gotten that compromise and implemented already. 6 months is a long time, actually. And I found that if you're persistent and you really understand how government works, you can get things done if you're on top of it. And that's what I would do. I would make sure that we're on top of it.
And if the outcome is not achieved, then what would you do?
Well, that's where the compromise comes in, because you need to talk to the business owner to find out what the real need is. Because oftentimes you find that people who think they need one thing, when you explore and talk to them and find out more about the problem, they actually need something else. And maybe that something else is what the MTA could do. Those are the kind of conversations that come out. I rarely have seen any cases where the need is so rigid that you can only have it this way. And I think that's where the room is for compromise. But it takes work. You have to work it and push hard on MTA as well to make sure that you get the result you need.
All right. Now you'll have 2 minutes for anything that you want to say. And I'm just going to have to time you. It's ready?
Great.
Go.
Thank you very much for having me. I am very pleased and honored to be able to run for supervisor of this great neighborhood, this great district. The Sunset Parkside neighborhoods are my favorite in the city. I live here. I'm a homeowner here. I've spent most of my life on the west side of San Francisco, and this is my home. I grew up in San Francisco. I'm a native San Franciscan, born at Chinese hospital, raised here, went to public schools in San Francisco, and the Sunset is my home. I hope that the voters of this district see what we can do together, and we can compromise, we can work together and heal the rifts that of recent months. And I think there's a lot of great things ahead, and we can come together.
You still have like 55 seconds.
Uh,
Say you hope people vote.
yeah, I hope that the voters will remember to vote for David Lee on the June ballot.
Do you want to continue or just give back the 30 seconds or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds great. So you didn't need the whole full 2 minutes. Awesome. Well, thank you for listening to the Sunset Connection. This conversation is part of an ongoing non-endorsement candidate interview series for District 4, and you can find the full series wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the neighborhood.